Glenn Greenwald, No Place to Hide, Edward Snowden, the NSA, and the U.S. surveillance state. No Place to Hide unveils a chilling reality about the erosion of our privacy and freedom, delving into the secretive world of government surveillance. The author, Glenn Greenwald, tells the gripping story of Edward Snowden, an ex-NSA contractor who risked everything to leak classified documents, unraveling the frightening extent to which intelligence agencies spy on ordinary citizens. Through this journey, we explore the crucial question of privacy in the digital age, the impact of surveillance on political dissent, and the challenges faced by whistleblowers and journalists in times of an ever-watchful government.
The impact of surveillance on political dissent. Privacy is essential to our sense of individuality and freedom. However, when we know we are being observed, we tend to behave in a way that is expected of us. A Stanford University experiment revealed that surveillance significantly affects how we think, especially regarding political standpoints. This is concerning, as political dissent is crucial for a healthy democracy. In recent years, the Internet has provided a platform for people to share knowledge and protest authority, but governments have historically spied on citizens who dared to oppose the status quo. The U.S. Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI, monitored various political groups, including anti-war and civil rights movements, and even infiltrated some of these groups to try to influence them to commit crimes. This covert behavior resulted in paranoia and diminished political dissent, which affects our privacy and freedom. The risky gamble of Snowden's leaks. Edward Snowden, a former cybersecurity expert for the CIA and NSA, carefully planned one of the most significant government leaks in history. After handing over the first-ever leaked classified documents from the NSA to author Glenn Greenwald, Snowden fled to Hong Kong for safety. However, the publication of the leaks faced obstacles from lawyers and intimidation from the NSA attempting to stall it. It was only through the courage of Snowden, Greenwald, Guardian editors, and independent reporters that the world became captivated by the published leaks. Snowden's mission. In 2012, Edward Snowden contacted author Glenn Greenwald and insisted on using encryption to communicate. Snowden had leaked NSA documents revealing data collection targets and was aware of state surveillance activities. He chose to live with the repercussions of being the most significant whistleblower in history and never concealed his movements. Snowden's goal was to rally against surveillance and maintain freedom on the Internet. He gave up his job, his girlfriend, and family to inform the public about what was being done in its name. NSA's breach on privacy. The National Security Agency, NSA, collects intelligence for the United States to safeguard the country from terrorism and threat. They also collect phone metadata and Internet data from citizens without their knowledge. Although NSA claims it's necessary to protect against terrorism, metadata can reveal more than the content of a call, and it's seldom related to terrorism. Additionally, the NSA doesn't need a warrant to gather communication details from non-US citizens or between a non-US citizen and a US citizen. The NSA's breach on privacy rights has sparked controversy. NSA's unrestrained surveillance. The NSA's spying on foreign governments and leaders goes beyond homeland security and anti-terrorism. The agency has targeted the UN Secretary-General, Brazilian President Dilma Rousseff, and Mexican President Enrique Peña Nieto. The leaked documents indicate that the agency has conducted economic espionage and spied on foreign businesses like Brazilian energy company Petrobras. The NSA's overreaching surveillance suggests that it has extended beyond its boundaries. The Secretive FISA Court and the insidious nature of intelligence collecting. The U.S. Congress formed the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, FISA, Court in 1978 to decide on which surveillance activities could be carried out by surveillance services. The court meets in secret with only the government present. Up until 2002, the court did not reject any application for surveillance, and since then, only 11 of over 20,000 applications have been denied. The NSA has been allowed to set up surveillance, track 3 billion calls and emails made or sent by Americans and over 200 billion such communications globally in a single month in 2013 alone, and has denied its capacity to retain this information despite leaked documents revealing the opposite. Despite occasional accountability, the agency continues to carry out invasive actions with relative freedom. United Spies. The United States, United Kingdom, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand constitute an alliance with shared language and spying capabilities. They intercept global communication systems and utilize spying tools to spy on the rest of the world. Methods include intercepting and manipulating computer network hardware, utilizing mass interceptions of communications data from fiber optic cables, and accessing communications from satellites used to operate phones on commercial flights. The leaked documents reveal that through Project Bull Run, the NSA and GCHQ can break internet encryption, leaving individuals exposed to hackers and foreign governments. Internet protocols are now untrustworthy. This population surveillance poses a threat to security systems worldwide. American privacy in jeopardy. The rise of intelligence agencies has caused innocent people's privacy to become more limited since the American Revolution. Even though the USA Patriot Act was intended to strengthen government law, it provided agencies access to personal documents without a probable cause of a crime. The act has been used in numerous drug and fraud-related cases but only 15 in terrorist activities. Unfortunately, there is no clear-cut proof that data collection has prevented terrorist attacks. During Barack Obama's presidency, the National Security Agency, NSA, leaked instances where they collected records on numerous individuals. Even though NSA has remained transparent, their blanket surveillance has come at the cost of Americans' hard-won privacy. The U.S. government's control over news. The U.S. government has a controlling influence on media outlets, which heavily favors their interests. Often, the government stops or delays stories that could potentially threaten national security and alert the media to inform them before publishing a sensitive story. This censorship involves the filtering of stories important to government and intelligence agencies and leak stories that work to their advantage. These activities primarily help the U.S. government to obscure their actions and keep the public unaware of their own motives and actions. However, some leaks receive U.S. government approval, such as drone attacks on Pakistani militants and the assassination of Osama bin Laden. This control over news distorts the public's perception of the government's actions and the activities of the NSA. The persecution of whistleblowers and reporters. In the book, the author exposes how media outlets discredit whistleblowers and those who report on secret government information. The government targets journalists who leak intelligence, and every whistleblower is at risk of character assassination. The author mentions examples of famous whistleblowers like Daniel Ellsberg, Edward Snowden, and Julian Assange and how they were portrayed in the media. Journalists, who are legally protected for publishing government leaks, are also targeted and characterized as freaks and criminals. The government's behavior towards whistleblowers and reporters is at odds with democracy's transparency values, and this is a growing threat to freedom of speech.
The revelations in No Place to Hide come as a stark warning to all individuals about the pervasive surveillance networks that encroach on personal liberties and privacy. Edward Snowden's courageous whistleblowing act brought the overreach of intelligence agencies, such as the NSA, under the spotlight. Through a series of startling realizations, the book highlights the never-ending battle for privacy rights and the increasing disregard for the sanctity of personal information by governments. Glenn Greenwald not only brings the scale of surveillance and its implications to our attention but also challenges us to question the biases and motivations behind the media coverage on this vital issue.